Okay, welcome everybody to the CRS Grammar Racing Series Formula 2 race. It's already round number 4 of the season, and we're gonna start off real soon with the sprint race. Remember, we start our races with the both races today with reverse championship order as always. That means we're going straight into the sprint race and we're going straight into the action, no qualifying. And our championship leader Albert will be starting last for tonight, which is expected if you're that quick, of course. I mean, if you're still able to win races from starting last, whew, can't imagine how good you must be compared to somebody like Thunder, who is currently gonna be on pole position as he is the lowest of the bunch in the championship. He's not less in championship, however. That is someone else who isn't racing with us today. I wish you all the best of luck and the best of fun to the drivers. As the lights go out, Dano jumps the start, jumps to first, and it's immediate chaos on the start as there's so much happening already, so much contact, and that is both Thunder and Men Like Mess off the track as they take each other down with them. Dano out in front in first, but he has that drive-through penalty because he jumped the start quite a bit too early. Jeff up to second now in a battle immediately with Mr. Robert, who has jumped up to second a few off tracks further down the order as Hasenki got the corner a little there, not enough to get a penalty, however, as his teammate Albert jumps up to 6th right behind him as the fight in the midfield is well underway. Joshua is looking all over the back of JF. He looks up the inside, makes JF go defensive through the next couple of corners, but he himself doesn't go for any real move just yet, as he is just waiting, playing the smart game and not sending it every opportunity he has, which is something he started doing recently, and he is been doing pretty well now that he decided to choose his battles. As Albert further behind is quick, seems to be a bit laggy though, as he jumps all over the place, went into the MP Motorsport car of Joshua just then as well, as he seems to be struggling for connection. I don't know what's going on though, as he witnesses firsthand murder as Jeff and Mr. Joshua make contact. Mr. Robert has the fast lap of the race, 2 minute 2.230 currently for the driver in second. As behind we saw Albert spin, but the lag saved him as he jumps all over the track once again. Up to third now. Right behind him is JF, who has Hasenki up in his rear wing. At this point they're ghosting into each other. Hasenki looks up the inside on the Camel Straight. It is an easy overtake, and then sees the opportunity, sees the door wide open, goes for it, immediately tries to go for the move on Hasenki. They make contact, but nothing really came of it in the end. A bit of wheel bumping happens quite a bit, I can tell you. As further down the order, everybody has relaxed a bit. Joshua fallen down to 9th position now, but as long as he just keeps up the good work and just stays alive in this race, he will still score points. Well, actually not in the sprint race, as he would need to gain 1 position in it, but in the main race, as long as these drivers stay alive in there, they get good points. As we have less than 10 drivers, that means definite points for everyone, unless of course they DNF. Dano Racing here in first still in the number 3 Campos Racing, doing pretty well to keep that lead, but you gotta remember, he has that drive-through penalty. He has to serve it within 3 laps. So that means that this lap number 3 out of 9, is the lap that he has to serve it, as Man Like Mess shoots up the order with a 10-second time penalty, as he just completely got the bus stop chicane in the end there. So that is a bit unfortunate from him. He doesn't seem to have had many illegal overtakes from it though, as he does not move out of the way for anyone. So that's pretty interesting, as further out front Albert is slowly catching the Prema Racing of Mr. Robert, someone that can definitely put a fork in the road to victory for some people, as he can be pretty good at defending from what I know so far. So let's see if he can use his skills to keep Albert behind, or if Albert is going to be just that much quicker as he tends to be everywhere else. Further behind his teammate in the ART, number 14, backed by Williams, is trying to also make an overtake. This one on campus of Campos, sorry. As behind him, the 2 Tridents are relaxing, as Thunder is right behind them, looking to gain some positions, and Joshua has caught up to the bunch as they fight. That gives him the perfect opportunity to do so, and he has done that very well, as Albert looks down the outside of Mr. Robert here, as Dano goes in the pits to serve his drive-through penalty. Seemed like there was a bit of contact there between Albert and Mr. Robert on the main straight, but Albert is passed and is in the lead now. Jesus Christ. With Dan plummeting down the order, having to go very slow through the pit lane. That drive-through penalty really hurt his race, but I guess that's what happens if you jump the start so much. As further up ahead, Mr. Robert is back past Albert, as the 2 will be fighting for the lead of this sprint race for the remaining few laps, as we just have 5 more laps to go. With further behind, Helsinki still right on the back of Dan, Afghan Dan. The 2 of them have been able to catch up a little bit to the top 2, yet there's still 1.5 seconds between Mr. Robert, Albert and Afghan Dan and Helsinki. The 2 sets fighting. Both ARTs seem to be a threat, but Joshua is also quite a threat in these F2 cars, which seem to really fit him well, as he is flying across the track, already back up to 6th position after that chaotic starting lap. As there's a yellow flag further behind, and it is Thunder, who seemed to have gone around, maybe with the help of Dano. It seems like Thunder is struggling a bit in the Dams Lucas Oil racing car today, as that is Joshua getting past the 2nd Trident now, as Man Like Mess holds no ground through the 3rd sector compared to Joshua, who's able to go very nicely past him. But then Joshua goes deep through the bus stop chicane. Man Like Mess has the better line, has the better exit, and seems to have the overspeed for now. He moves to the inside of the MP Motorsport car. He makes the move, but he has the slower exit this time around. So it's Joshua who's back on the attack, going into Eau Rouge Rédillon. Let's see what they can do as they go side by side. Joshua backs out a little. He gets blocked by Man Like Mess as a result of it. Further up ahead, Albert and Miss Robert also fight at the end of the Camel Straight. Onto the Camel Straight now goes Joshua with Man Like Mess. Joshua goes and passes him before the braking zone, or just at the start of braking zone into the next few corners. He is ahead and he seems to be pulling away nicely. As long as he can keep this pace compared to men like Mess, he will be away in no time. Trying to catch the top 4 who are currently in one big battle for the podium positions. As Mr. Robert has given up the first place to Albert on the Camel Straight earlier this lap, Dan is able to stay ahead of Hasanki now, as he has been able to use the fighting of Albert and Mr. Robert to gain some extra slipstream and gain some extra speed that Hasanki has been unable to capitalize on himself. And indeed, Man Like Mess is losing Joshua. They are losing connection with each other, basically. As further behind, the Campos of Jeff, Jesus Christ, the Campos of Dano is catching the Trident of Jeff, who is seemingly struggling a little. Now that Dano has served his drive-through penalty, he's back at it and he is quick, but so is Albert, as Albert sets the fastest lap of the race, 1:57.440. Below the 2-minute mark is not something you see often in these F2 cars, as Dano goes off track through the bus stop chicane, went a bit too late on the brakes and a bit too deep off the track, allowing JF to keep 7th position for the time being. And Albert and Mr. Robert, that fight up in front doesn't seem fully done yet, as Mr. Robert has the DRS advantage on the Camel Straight, has the opportunity to catch the ART car of Albert. Current championship leader has gone from 9th up to 1st, just like that. It's lap 6 out of 9. The end is near, but we still have plenty of time to go, as these laps take around 2 minutes, as you might have noticed. So we have plenty of time till the race is over. But you gotta remember, it's also just a sprint race, so we still have plenty more of action to come with all of these guys. And the pit stop strategies will come into play in the feature race rather sooner than later. But let's first just focus on this sprint race, as Dan keeps up with the top 2 at the moment, the top 3 being really close to each other, all within 1 second of each other, and Hasanki is just falling away from them, giving Afghan Dan the perfect opportunity to try and see if he can move up onto a higher podium spot than 3rd, as there is yellow flags further behind. Jeff seems to have gone into the bin, maybe with the help of the Campos of Dano, but who knows, we haven't seen it, but it is very likely, as Jeff now joins Dunder at the back of the grid. For up ahead, the chaos seems to be arising, as the 3 on the podium 3 now are pretty close to each other, and Dan seems to become a threat, slowly become a threat for Mr. Robert. Mr. Robert now has to think not only to what he's gonna do with the car ahead, Albert, but also has to focus on Dan and make sure Dan doesn't capitalize on anything and just passes him without him realizing he was even there. That is gonna be very interesting to see as we look from the perspective of the Campos of Dan. We saw Mr. Robert look for a move at the end of the Camel Straight. He was just too far back. Mr. Robert just lets Albert know he's there, but in doing so has a lockup through the next few sets of corners, as I forget corner names once again. Spa. I really should know better than this. There's should be something off with the colors of the stream. I'm sorry for that. Anyway, still on board with Dan. Now just through the next section of the track. See Mr. Robert and Albert just be able to pull away a bit more. and be able to stay pretty close to each other, with Dan struggling to really keep up the same pace. But in these tight technical corners, he seems to just have a very, very good line through them as he goes side by side with Mr. Robert. But Mr. Robert is able to just keep the upper hand and keep second place into turn 1. Now going onwards up the hill through Orusa Rayon, rather sooner than later. Dan is very close to Mr. Robert, so who knows what's gonna happen there as we go through the Camel Kink and then onto the Camel Straight. JFGF got 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings as well, as Dan looks up the inside, switches to the outside. Mr. Robert defends beautifully, is able to use his one defensive move perfectly against Dan, who just reacted a bit too early to the defense and switched a bit too early going into the braking zone. As ahead, Mr. Albert is keeping the track very well as JFGF crashes and retires through Orus already on. Can't imagine that that was on his own, so I'm guessing there was an incident with Dunder there, who just left that part of the track. Who knows? We'll keep an eye on that for sure, as more and more chaos is erupting. Sorry for the look from Jerry, I'm just trying to see this is. Well, Dan messes up turn 1 as he seems to be struggling now in the on the final lap of the race, as the racing goes on. So does the challenge of keeping up with one another, as everybody has started to pull away from each other a little bit on this final lap. It seems like Albert is destined for the win. But who knows what's gonna happen, as Mr. Robert still have plenty of opportunities to overtake, as we're watching Man Like Maz try to overtake Dano. Dano blocking that move perfectly once again, as he has probably learned from the best by now on how to do that. And it is a very interesting race, that is for sure. A very interesting race that is coming to an end now, as the sprint is on lap number 9. Mr. Robert is 1.8 seconds away from Albert as we speak. The championship leader, the race leader, will also be the race winner in just a few corners time. As I'm getting annoyed though. Okay. As Albert is now going into the bus stop chicane for the final time for the sprint race to take the win of the race in the ART number whatever it is. In the ART, Albert takes the win. Dan takes second, with Mr. Robert down to third, Asenki fourth, Joshua fifth. Dano in the end crosses the line to take 6th place. Still a very good result for him, with Man Like Maz 7th, and Dunder now goes to 8th position in the Damsukas Oil. But this is your winner of the race right here, Albert. What a amazing job he keeps doing. Absolutely incredible stuff from him and the ART team. ART Grand Prix team, as it is a very nice podium for them as we go into the feature race rather sooner than later. Here are the results of the race with the final penalties as well. Everybody's tire strategy, and of course all the many incidents that tend to happen during something like this. Now I am afraid to tap out of the game, so I cannot see if I can quickly fix the color issue that you're very much experiencing. But I can very much try to quickly do that. Okay. There we go. Fixed it. At least should have fixed it. Let me check. Yep, that looks more colorful to me. So let's get going for the main race of the night. As the lights go out, Dunder leads us into turn number 1, Les Sources, as it's absolute chaos behind him already as they go 3 wide. Both Tridents and Dunder, the Tridents push each other off and they're down the order. Absolute chaos already, giving Mr. Robert perfect opportunity to take the lead of the race already. Afghan down right up his bum, with Dunder up into third, or down into third. Helsinki up to 4th, Joshua in 5th, Dano 6th with Albert right behind him in 7th, and both Tridents absolutely stumbled down the order after that first turn. Absolute pure chaos from them. As the chaos does not stop, absolute chaos through the oh so interesting corners that are to come, and maybe I'm horrible at the names. I'm so sorry. Anyway, further behind we see Joshua going off track a little there, but overall he is definitely not alone in that boat, as everybody is taking these track limits as suggestions on these first few laps. That's for sure, with all this chaos. Yellow flags, I think those will be for Dunder, as he drops down the order down to 9th place now, as Helsinki is up to 3rd. Dan and Mr. Robert are fighting for the lead already, and the first lap isn't over yet, as Dano looks down the outside of Helsinki, goes for it through the bus stop chicane. He is able to take P3 to make it a 2-3 for Campos at the moment, but that is Albert in 5th already, has arrived in the top 5, which isn't difficult to do, but still, he's already there at the start of lap 2. His teammate right in front of him. I can't imagine that team orders will play a role rather sooner than later. Going through a Rouge ready on, up through the Camel Kink and onto the Camel Straight. It is Albert right behind his teammate in the Williams-backed ART, but that Honda GR backed ART is, or Toyota GR I should say, backed ART is doing a bit better. As the two ARTs are currently 4th and 5th, they're gonna be looking at 1st and 2nd of course, but first they have to cut through Mr. Robert, Evkandan and their first target, Dano, who is currently driving in 3rd, not that far in front of Mr. Albert here. As further down the order, Joshua also isn't far from the action, right behind Helsinki, looking to also move up the order. With further down the order, men like Mess, Thunder and JFJF trying to salvage their races and just have those points on the table. I don't know why I said that way. Oh well. Let's go on board with Albert through the bus stop chicane onto the main straight and in towards La Source, turn number 1. As in front of him there is a lot happening. Evkandan is looking to overtake Mr. Robert, but through Eau Rouge, Radiant, there's nothing he can do. Going onto the Camel Straight once again. Now Dan is looking around the inside. Mr. Robert squeezes him to the max. Dano takes advantage of the slower drivers in front fighting. That is Dan off the track. Mr. Robert off the track. Dano up to 2nd because of it. Able to take advantage. And Dan has a massive penalty because of that. Well, 3 seconds, not that big, but corner cutting. That size would have expected more. Oh well, 3 seconds for Dan. Dano right in front of him, and Albert was able to take perfect. Jesus Christ, Albert was able to take that opportunity very well. Going up to 3rd as Mr. Robert drops down 1 more position to 4th, with Helsinki not far behind him. As it is currently a game pass 1-2. Let's see how long that will last with Albert up their ass. Further down the order, Joshua is still fighting with Helsinki, and men like Mess and Thunder also seem to be getting into a fight rather soon than later. Dan, Evkandan really needs to help his teammate here if they want to score good points for the Constructors' Championship. As the two of them are currently in 1-2. Then Evkandan able to give Dano the DRS and slipstream he'd need to keep Albert off his back for now. But Evkandan has a slow turn 1, slows his teammate down as well. Not that Albert is able to take much advantage of it, as the two Campos drivers keep pushing onwards through Rouge and Radiant right on top of each other, and they go side by side onto the Camel Straight. The two Red Bull Campos drivers going for it, and Dano takes the lead. Evkandan is now the buffer between Dano and Albert, who goes right around the slower Evkandan, as he takes advantage of the fact that Dan just was a bit slower, took his time a bit more to let his teammate pass, and that is Albert up into 2nd now, able to take great advantage of the other cars around him and the situation around him. He seems to have fixed the internet issue. He's no longer lagging all over the place, and he is flying instead. Further on the track, Thunder is past Man Like Mass, meaning it's a Trident 8-9 at the moment. And the rest of the teams are a bit mixed at the moment, but still Dano is leading, with Elward in 2nd and Evkandan in 3rd. And further behind, Joshua has passed Helsinki, didn't even notice that. And now is going after Mr. Robert, who seems to be going a bit slow after the absolute chaos earlier in the race. It's only lap 4 and already so much has happened. Nobody's in any of the original positions anymore, I don't think. And it is lovely to see. Position changes. Oh, Miss Robert and Helsinki are in their original positions at the moment. Albert up 7 already, JFJF down 7, and Albert is very much gonna be looking to make that 8 positions gained as he looks around the outside of Dano. Absolutely amazing stuff. Nothing Dano can do there. It's just immense overspeed for the ART Grand Prix driver. That is the Albert, oh so amazing Albert, who has been able to dominate so many races already in CRS, and he's looking to only add to the number of races he can dominate. As Dano is now no more match for Albert with clean air, and Albert is just gonna be looking to pull away as quickly as possible in the Toyota GR backed ART Grand Prix number 14 car. So much you can call it a car. It's a car in this situation. It's funny. I'm just trying to name it as many things as possible at this point. Oh well, Albert is able to pull away. That is the gist of it. And Joshua, in the MP Motorsport of Overgood, has caught up to Mr. Robert in the Prema, as he is definitely gonna be looking to make an overtake on Mr. Robert now at this point. As that is our first pit stop for Dan, who goes into the pits. Let's see what tires it's going to be. He's going from the softs onto the mediums. A fresh set under that number 3 Campos already on lap 6. It goes pretty quick and the first pit stops have been made. Let's see what directions of the rifles are gonna be, but let's first watch Joshua try and overtake Mr. Roberts on the Camel Straight. Joshua flies past, no issue at all, as Mr. Robert kept the outside nice and open for him, kept that one car width there, expecting Joshua to go for it. And Joshua is now on the podium for now, until Dan gets back up there, because who knows. Dano's actually keeping up pretty well with Albert at the moment. Hasn't really lost much time, is currently 0.4 seconds behind Albert. And Mr. Robert is definitely also looking to take back P3 from Joshua at the moment. Besides that, Helsinki is looking to catch up with them too. Dunder is in 6th, JFJF in 7th, then Afghan Dan has then split the 2 Tridents in 8th, with Man Like Mass currently in 9th position, still another almost 20 seconds behind the Campos of Dan. It's lap number 6 out of 13. Let's see who's gonna jump into the pits next. If Albert and or Dano go for it, now reacting to Afghan Dan, but none of them do, as they keep battling on for now. As looking at everybody's tires, it is definitely gonna be time for Dano, Joshua, Mr. Robert to think about switching from those softs onto some mediums rather sooner than later. But besides that, the current medium runners who have yet to pit do have a good chance to try and run this out almost till the end. Joshua and Mr. Robert have indeed switched off from the soft tires onto the mediums now for those two, who will keep on fighting now for 7th place instead of 3rd. Helsinki being promoted to that position, nice and without much issue. As Dunder is up to 4th now with Jeff in 5th. Them two having a really great race without having pit yet. As everybody has relaxed a little bit now after the pit stops. Still, Dano is close to Albert and Mr. Robert is close to Joshua. Along with that, Afghan Dan is also hunting down Jeff at the moment. Curious to see how everybody is gonna play this one out strategic with tire strategy as well. As at some point they will have to make that pit stop, and Dano is going for it now. The Campos peeling into the pits, looking to get an undercut done, looking to get the tire advantage now as they get those fresh mediums on there. That's interesting, because he just went from medium to medium. He could be going for a 2-stopper. Don't know why though. As Jeff also peels into the pits a bit further back now, and then comes out just in front of his teammate. Now it is a 1-2 for the ART Grand Prix drivers, with Dunder up to 3rd now in the Dems Lucas Oil car, as further behind the two Campos drivers are already battling it out again after the pit stop of Dano. Dano on the fresher mediums is able to take advantage and go up into 4th for now, as Helsinki takes a 3-second time penalty. 3rd driver with a penalty now, along with Afghan Dan and Jeff. As all eyes will now go to Albert to see when he is going to peel into those pits, along with his teammate Helsinki 10 seconds behind. So they could theoretically see if a double stack is possible. But this game can be glitchy, and who knows what's gonna happen if they do that. Although I do encourage them doing it for the fun of the race. As Albert sets out another lap, his teammate Helsinki in the Williams-backed ART peels into the pits, goes for it now. So it could very well be that Albert goes for the pit stop next lap or the lap after that. He will have to go for it soon though, as we're already on lap number 9 out of 13. Which means we have 5 laps to go. As that is 10 seconds for Dunder for speeding in the pit lane. Not very smart of the Dems Lucas Oil car, as he goes on to the soft tires. Same with Helsinki here. As Mr. Robert retires from the race in the pits. What has happened to him then? Why has he retired from the race? Oh, that's very, very unfortunate for him and his championship. As all eyes now once again go back from Mr. Robert retiring in the pit lane to Albert to see if he is indeed pitting in this lap, like he could do now that his teammate has pitted safely. Or is he looking to stay out a bit longer, try to extend the gap as much as possible, even though all it's doing is currently getting smaller as he does peel into the pits. The final ART, and with that also the final driver to make a pit stop this race on lap 10 out of 13 with 4 laps to go. Albert switched onto the soft tire, and it's gonna be very interesting to see if he has that gap. I'm pretty sure he does though, as the rest are going into the braking zone of turn 1 now, and there is indeed Albert way ahead of you. As that is Afghan Dan, who is in third, looking to make it second for the Campos. And either way, it is a 2-3 for Campos. They should be happy with that. Obviously, both drivers are looking to be the top driver, the first driver ahead in the championship. Currently, that is Dano. As the action has cooled down a little. So have I. Jesus Christ. And it is very interesting to see everything that's going on. Also, I just realized both is it just me? Because that's number 3, Campos. And that's number 3 Campos. No, that's the number 3 Campos. Both Campos drivers have the number 3 on them. What? Is there something I don't know about with Campos, that they have the same number for the drivers and they have like 3 and 4? Pretty sure mostly number 3 and number 4, not 3 and 3. Because in F2 each team has a even and odd numbered car. With numbers like number 13 being banned from usage, number 13 because of bad luck, and some others because, well, respect to some drivers who passed. We got numbers, we got teams up to 22 and numbers up to 25. 26, something like that. 27 maybe. I don't know. So yeah, that's. Anyway, both number 3 Campos drivers are now fighting for P2 still. With Joshua in the MP Motorsport number 5 slowly catching the two of them. 3 Red Bull backed cars right one after the other. So that's fun. With 3 laps to go, about to become 2 very soon, Albert is leading the Jesus Christ Almighty, is leading the race by 3 seconds now, as the ART Grand Prix is flying like a Formula 1 car. The 156.099 as Albert's fastest lap of the race, and with that also just the fastest lap of the race so far, giving him that one little extra point. As at the same time, it is work pretty well for him. Dano, then Jesus Christ, I'm pressing wrong ones. Him, Dano, and then the top 3 at the moment, Campos 2-3 double podium would be very good for them. As Senki seems to just be struggling once again to try and be up there with Albert. As Joshua in P4 at the moment is quickly catching up to a Afghan Dan who seems to be losing his teammate a little on the penultimate lap. Let's see if he can catch up to the Campos drivers and make the overtake happen before we see the checkered flag being waved for them. As we're on to sector 3 of penultimate lap and the race is very much nearing its end. On board with the MP Motorsport car now. He doesn't seem to really have the opportunity to catch up with the Campos drivers just yet, as Albert has started the final lap of the race. The end is near. It's one more lap and then the final results will be known, at least before the league's FIA takes action. And currently it's looking like a very comfortable win for Albert with almost 4 seconds to the next driver, as that's JFJF in the gravel down at the bottom of the track, struggling going into the 3rd sector to start his final lap. Even though he is struggling to start his final lap, Albert on his final lap is currently going through Rivage and flying through No Name as usual, as that seems to be JFJF going purposely slow and in the grass almost. We'll keep an eye on him, because that is all but the track. As rain pours down for the final part of the race, for the final lap of the race, as JFJF seems to just be trying to cause a safety car, virtual safety car, but the wait, what? For him, yeah, I guess now it is. Basically, for the final lap of the race, he's trying to cause something, but it doesn't change a thing, as Albert takes the win. Dano gets second, third is for Afghan Dan. Joshua jumps up to third though with Afghan Dan's penalty. Beautiful stuff from the MP Motorsports driver, as Helsinki now comes over the line to take 5th place, with Dunder in 6th as it speaks. Then that is man like Maz, who's last to come across the line to go ahead and take 7th place, as it is a very bad race for Trident, but a very good race for Albert, as he takes another win. Very good job to the Polish ART Grand Prix driver, as he also gets the fastest lap of the race. Besides that, here are the final results of the race, which almost took exactly 26 minutes, which is fun. 1 DNF once again. Some fun their strategies, and obviously, once again, a few warnings and penalties for everyone. I will wrap it up here with these results being the end of this week's Formula 2 Grand Prix. Be sure to come back tomorrow for F1, and on Saturday we'll have F2 running, or T2 running as well, of course. So 2 F1 tiers coming up in the coming few days, also around Spa-Francorchamps this week. And we'll see you next week with Formula 2 around yet another fun little track. I hope everybody enjoyed and everybody has fun for the rest of their day. Goodbye.